My favorite sound, the cheering of the fans. Crank it up.
My favorite sound? The silence before the lights go green.
Full blast.
Downshifting from full speed. When I rev up my engine to its absolute limit. Too close to cool. Cheering on the podium.
Be aware.
It's gonna be loud.
Well, hi everyone, and welcome to qualifying for race 6 in DTM. We're at the Lausitzring in the sunshine, and we are about to get qualifying underway for the longer race this afternoon, which comes live, complete with a pit stop as well, which means that perhaps strategy will come into play as to who will be the eventual victor of race number 2 across this weekend. Yesterday it was Miguel Molina that took the win from Jamie Green and Robert Wickens, and then it was Marco Wittmann who was P4. The one thing we've learned about DTM for season 2016 is whatever happens on day 1 is not necessarily a form guide to day number 2. Alongside me, Chris Hartley. I'm not telling a lie, am I?
Absolutely not, no. It's ultra competitive this year. We have had 5 races so far. We've had 5 different drivers on pole position. We've had 5 different winners. And we've got the top 4 in the championship: Marco Wittmann, Edo Matara, Paul Di Resta and Robert Wickens, separated by just 4 points: 47, 44, 43 and 43, the point situation. So the one thing that DTM is this year is absolutely unpredictable. There's Jamie Green, though, who's been having a struggle at the start of the season, but found his form again now. 2 podiums back-to-back and a strong second place yesterday.
He's down P8 in the points, isn't he? And if we compare this season to last season, Jamie Green really started in a strong position. Didn't work out for him in the middle part, then came good towards the end. It seems very different so far this season, and maybe it will be his year.
Yeah, and you know, there are more chances to have bad races this year. Everybody's having races where they're not scoring points by and large, and certainly back in the days where it was just 1 race per weekend, you only had a 10-round championship. If you slipped up a couple of times, you were already out of the running. But here, this year, with the system that we have these days, you can stay in it even if you have a couple of bad rounds. So Jamie Green fighting his way back up the table. Had the 3rd free practice session this morning. Christian Vitouris has a good record here. He was good in yesterday's race as well. And only by 3 thousandths of a second was he quicker than Jamie Green this morning. Nico Muller just 6 thousandths of a second away, and 33 thousandths of a second back in 4th place was Matthias Ekstrom.
Best BMW once again, though, was way down the order, and it was Marco Wittmann. So Marco Wittmann having a good race yesterday to take P4. So we'll see if he will be strongest in qualifying. As we look there at the car of Christian Vitouris, and we await the qualifying to get underway. They're queued up there at the exit to the pit lane, as you can see. First in the line is Adrien Tombe, and then it's Bruno Spengler, and there goes the Christian Vitouris car making its way out of the garage. Jamie Green in the mix as well there. The first 4 cars ready to go out onto track and get this qualifying session underway, which will set the grid for the race to come this afternoon. Weather has brought out a huge crowd. It's a great motorsport festival this weekend here at the Lausitzring with a lot of race action on track. And it was a very good crowd yesterday. Going to be eclipsed again, I think, today with yet more people ready to enjoy the action. And there is Jamie Green. Look of focus on the eyes through the crash helmet there.
So yesterday it was Miguel Molina that took pole position from Jamie Green. The difference between the pair of them was just 77 thousandths of a second. Molina led into turn 1, but by turn 2 Jamie Green had got his nose in front. He led for a few laps, but Molina just had that little bit more speed yesterday, and the Spaniard took his 2nd career win in DTM. Jamie Green in the end having to defend a little bit to hold on to his 2nd place finish from Robert Wickens, who picked up a podium for Mercedes. So yesterday qualifying, the time 1 minute 16.619 seconds. So we'll be interested to see, Dave, if they are faster, slower, or about the same pace as that, because yesterday was very hot, but today is even hotter, isn't it? And with all the rubber that's been laid down from all of the racing that we had yesterday, it could be a very different circuit in terms of grip from today.
Absolutely, and it was really interesting when we heard from Jamie Green that the different types of rubber that have been laid down on the track by the other categories of racing that are here across this motorsport festival weekend, if you like, and Jamie was saying very much that his car was behaving differently, he felt, because of the different rubber that was on the track, something that perhaps we wouldn't have ever considered.
That's right. No, it's and you get a thick black line with all the melted rubber that gets laid down on the racing line here. So having lots of grip is a good thing, but having too much grip and the tyres getting too hot and the chemical balance of them doesn't work, that's a bad thing. The optimum tyre temperature here, Hankook say, in terms of running, is 90 to 100 degrees. That's the window you're trying to be in.
Right.
Edo Mortara pulled off a couple of good moves to get himself in the points yesterday, and he very much one of the front runners in the championship this year. Second in the points, won the first race at Hockenheim, on the podium at Spielberg as well, and picked up 8th place in yesterday's race. So while some of them, Dave, have gone out and gone straight back into the pits, just an installation lap, Edo staying out.
So replay there of all the, almost inclined to say, debris that's on the track there. Now, we saw the sweepers out in action, didn't we, before we got this qualifying session underway, but it was interesting. I can't think it was gravel at that point.
This is dry ice. Yeah, but
what it was.
I was waiting for somebody to go into the wall then. That's, you get slow-mo at that angle. It's normally somebody glancing at the wall, isn't it? But not so. So Edo Mortara is going to post the first real lap time of the session. Interestingly, it's 20 minutes, and you get them going out, don't you, Dave, for a burst of 2 or 3 laps. Then they go into the pits, and then everybody comes out again for the last 5 minutes. And it's usually in the last 5 minutes where the times improve. But Molyneux's pole time yesterday was actually set quite early in the session, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, Edo Mortara has dived into the pit lane, so it'll be hours time that will give us the benchmark to work from right at the start of this session. Lucas Auer crosses the timing line now with a 1:18.726. 1:18.726 for the Austrian nephew of Gerhard Berger, who is in DTM in that all-pink machine. Here is Paul de Resta, who's already going quicker than Auer. Who else have we got out on track? Certainly Timo Scheider and Antonio Felix da Costa and Daniel Juncadea. Paul Wickens as well.
Paul reporting he wasn't happy at all with the car yesterday, and only qualified on the penultimate row of the grid. Battled through, didn't quite get the points, but finished just outside the top 10 in the end in 13th place. So 1:18.7 to beat. It's going to do that fairly comfortably, I think. Yes. It's going to be the 1:17s, isn't it? Yeah, 1:17.8 seconds, but that's still over a second away from pole yesterday.
Okay, here comes Matthias Ekström then, the Team Ab Sportsline driver. Comes here off the back of success in Rallycross in the UK just last weekend. So Matthias Ekström heads for the timing line now, 1:17.806 to beat. Doesn't quite do that, goes P2 with a 1:17.942. Expect more to come from Matthias Ekström and more to come from Lucas Auer, who got relegated to P3, but now will cross the timing line and go fastest with a 1:17.364, taking 4 tenths out of the previous best time by Paul de Resta.
Certainly his strongest weekend of the season so far, sure. Lucas Auer. He was running in 5th place for much of the race yesterday. He ran out of DRS. You only get a limited number of DRS pushes that you can use during the course of a race. They'll get more today because it's a longer race, but for the first time this season we've seen drivers running out, and Lucas was one of them. So his teammate Christian Vitoris passed him, and then not long after Matthias Ekström got through as well, but it was still a good strong point scoring finish for him. Here's Jamie Green then on the attack. He's currently sitting in 2nd place with a 1:17.727. Paul de Resta 3rd currently with a 1:17.8. Make it 2nd, he's just gone through with a 1:17.5.
And Maximilian Goertz then with a PB in Sector 1, a best of anyone in Sector 2. And Maximilian Goertz goes quickest now with a 1:17.227. So the number 84 car of Maximilian Goertz tops the times in this part of qualifying. Here comes Robert Wickens. Now, Robert Wickens was pretty feisty in racing yesterday. Perhaps a surprise if he didn't do that again today. And at the moment in qualifying, we are following him. So, best of anyone in Sector 1, PB in Sector 2 for Robert Wickens. Let's see what he can do as he is back onto the oval part of the track now and heads towards the timing line. And Robert Wickens posts a 1:17.734. So Maximilian Gertz then a 1:17.227. So we're on board with the BMW driver Bruno Spengler. And back with Matthias Ekström, who again, purple Sector 1, green Sector 2. This could be a good one from Matthias Ekström, who's currently 5th fastest.
Resting the wheel, getting as close as he dares to the concrete wall in a moment on the exit to turn 12. It's going to be a good lap this. He'll progress. Will he get fastest time? Second, not far away, half a tenth away. So still Gotts, who was nowhere in qualifying yesterday. He qualified in 20th place, Max Gotts. Well, he got a bit of a penalty as well, but he was pace-wise not that good. Ekström second at the moment, and into the pits, Lucas Auer currently in 3rd place. Mike Rockenfeller didn't have a great day yesterday, but he's currently in 4th place. Paul de Resta 5th, Bruno Spengler in 6th, and Jamie Green then 7th.
This is a fantastic shot. You can see the feet at work there, the left foot braking coming from Bruno Spengler, down hard on the accelerator pedal now. As we watch Nico Müller, who's had real flashes of speed across this weekend in the Audi, hasn't he? So Nico Müller drives the car with the Playboy livery for this year as he heads towards the timing line. It was P15. It's 10 places better for Nico Müller. Currently a 1:17.461 gives him, at the moment, 5th fastest.
And Nico, who got pole position at Hockenheim, which then carried into his maiden podium, 3rd place finish in the first race of the season. Anybody on a quick lap at the moment? Marco Wittmann's on a decent lap. He's just done the best second sector of anybody. He's only 15th at the moment, but he's been the leading light for BMW. Drove really well yesterday to fend off for the whole race, really, Lucas Auer and Christian Vittoris in the Mercedes. And the BMW driver finishing in a very strong 4th place. Up to 7th place for Timo Glock. Here comes Marco Wittmann. He's going to improve and should be well up in the top 6, even faster. Pole position at the moment by 1.5 tenths of a second for Marco Wittmann. That was a tremendous lap. Middle sector, but quicker than anybody else. But he got PBs in sectors 1 and 3 as well. So 1:17.061, and by 1.5 tenths of a second, Marco Wittmann puts the BMW onto provisional pole.
Well, yesterday's victor, Miguel Molina, then currently 11th fastest. It's personal best in Sector 1, not such good Sector 2. And the LED indicator in the rear quarter light indicating where he is in qualifying at the moment, and it's P11. A whole queue of cars we can see from the commentary
Sector 1 improved well, 1/10. Sector 1, you decide if you do one more lap. You can do one more lap.
Well, it's now P12 for Molina. He decides whether to do one more lap. The team instructed him, as we're on board with Timo Glock now. P8 for the BMW X Formula 1 star as he heads towards the timing line, and he improves from P8 by 5 places to go P3 now, so it's Wittmann with a 1:17.
Box is lap. At the moment we are P3.
1:17.061 for Wittmann. Gertz then P2 and
I
then
don't know,
Glock.
I struggled a bit with the tires in the first lap compared to yesterday. Not sure why. The grip in the game and the peak was not the same.
Okay, so for the next tire set we can give a bit of warm up. At the moment we are P3. Marco is P1, 2/10 in front.
1/10 behind.
How is the balance in general?
Box.
Copy box.
Balance itself is okay. 30 centimeters, a bit on the underside side.
Really interesting to hear that.
A confirmation that the track, which is an evolving thing over the course of the weekend, has changed.
Miguel, does it feel okay or was it just the traffic?
It's just the traffic. A bit of understeer in turn 2, turn 3, sorry.
So Molina there with a bit of understeer into turn 3. And there is the Molina car along with Eduardo Mortara's car as well being pushed back into the garage then. So crucial feedback that the drivers are giving during this qualifying session back to the teams in terms of, because it's such a short turnaround, isn't it? It's such a short qualifying session that anything that's got to be done and adjusted has to be done really, really quickly. Already, look, we're less than 10 minutes of the qualifying session remaining. There's Matthias Ekström, who's currently 4th fastest. The fastest is Marco Wittmann with a 1:17.061. So there is Maximilian Goertz, who is 2nd fastest in that Mercedes with a 1:17.227.
Yes, so Timo Glock and his engineer discussing the fact that it wasn't as grippy as he would have liked on the first lap compared to yesterday. Second lap was okay.
Yeah.
So they're going to change the procedure in terms of just trying to warm the tyres up a little bit differently, a little bit quicker on the first lap. For the ex-Formula 1 racer, Timo Glock looking in good form here again this weekend. Never won in F1, but got several podiums with Toyota. Started with Jordan and has been a multiple race winner in DTM now, picking up that victory, his 3rd victory in DTM at Spielberg last time out. So he's 3rd, so it's Marco Wittmann quickest, 1:17.061, just halfway into the session now. Maximilian Goertz, 1:17.227, he's 3rd. He's only 5 thousandths quicker than Timo Glock in 4th. Also on a 1:17.2, Matthias Ekström in 4th place. Auer with a 1:17.3 is 5th. Jamie Green up to 6th place with a 1:17.4.
Spengler is the only car out on track.
Yeah.
With just under 8 minutes remaining in this session. This is Bruno Spengler that you're watching then in the familiar BMW Bank livery. Back out on and heading towards the start-finish line now for Bruno Spengler. Graphics on the right-hand side with the revs, the gear is in, and the speed that is being pulled as he crosses the timing line now. 200 and just under 250 kilometers per hour before the braking into turn number 1. It's P5 for Bruno Spengler with his 1:17.329. He still stays the only one out on track, so he's not being hindered or harassed by any traffic. This has given him very, very clear and clean lap to set his qualifying time with, and this becomes crucial towards the end of the session, doesn't it? It's just trying to find space out there on track as everyone dashes out to make a last go at qualifying to set the grid for race number 2 this afternoon.
That's right. The only benefit of having cars out there, if at the right time you can pick up a toe down one of the straights, that might give you a 1/10, 2/10 of a second, which can be massive in terms of your positioning qualifying in DTM. But Bruno Spengler, only 15th yesterday, looking better today in 5th place in the BMW. Personal bests in sectors 1 and 2 as well. And 1:17.329. If he can find half a 10th of a second, he'll get to the second row of the grid. If he can find a 10th, he could even get onto the front row of the grid. It's that close. Here we go, out of the last turn.
Keep pushing, Bruno, keep pushing.
Through he
keep
goes.
pushing.
And what's the time? Yes, second. He is on the front row. 1:17.167. Very good lap, that. So BMW's 1 and 2 at the moment. The Team RMG car of Marco Wittmann, the team that leads the Teams Championship, currently have provisional pole with their man Marco Wittmann. If it stays like that, Dave will be the first driver this season to get pole position more than once.
Comes Matthias Ekström now to join in the party out on track then. Also coming out as well is the Timo Scheider car. And there is Matthias Ekström. So just under 5 minutes left in this session that sets the grid for race number 2. Matthias Ekström then using all the tarmac plus a bit of runoff as well. Wittmann's 1:17.061 provisional pole time with exactly 5 minutes left in this session. Wittmann, Spengler, Goertz, Glock, Ekström, Auer, Green, Muller, Vitoris, Mortara, the top 10.
The track at the moment seems about 4/10 of a second a lap slower than it was in qualifying this time yesterday. It's just hotter, there's more rubber down, and that's giving them some issues. Lucas Auer running in 6th place. Just had going into the pits, Robert Wickens now. Robert yesterday qualified on the second row of the grid, qualified in 4th place. At the moment, the Canadian is down in 15th spot, so really struggling at this time and running out of time to get back out there and get a good lap in as well. 4 minutes 20 seconds left on the clock. Lucas Auer with an okay first sector of this lap, but nothing really special. So tight and twisty in the infield, but out on the oval, Dave, it's mega quick, isn't it? Yesterday in the race, Gary Paffett's had the top speed, and that was 258 kilometres an hour. Incredible, these V8s rocketing along.
So it's Lucas Auer that we're following at the moment. And out then for another blast is 1:17.061, means he's top of the chart at the moment. It is Marco Wittmann wearing the Red Bull livery for season 2016. 3.5 minutes left to run in this session.
It's the best part of a minute and 3/4 to get just around to the start-finish line, isn't it? To try and get a time, yeah. Should get 2 laps if he wants it. Just.
So the number 1 illuminated in the rear quarter of his car, indicating that he is the fastest of anyone at the moment. That 1:17.061. So Christian Vitoris then under investigation for potential blocking during the qualifying. We continue to follow Marco Wittmann then, former champion of course, weaving from side to side to get some additional heat into those tyres on what is a very high track temperature circuit right now. Clock back on Lucas Auer, who's done PBs in Sector 1 and Sector 2. He's already 6th fastest with his 1:17.330. As the Molina car ahead of him, the race-winning Molina car from yesterday. This then is Lucas Auer back out onto the original part of the oval circuit, the final turn here before they head down the start-finish straight, as Lucas Auer does now. He's going to cross the timing line now, and a 1:17.452 means that he doesn't improve on his previous time that gave him P6. It was the final sector that wasn't good for Lucas Auer there.
That's right, yeah. He needs to gain a 10th to get himself up a couple of positions on the grid, but lost a 10th in the end. So Jamie Green on a personal best here. Should improve from 9th place. Can he get up into the top 3 rows of the grid here? The Audi man is about to sprint over the start-finish line. 1:17.293. It's an improvement, but not quite into the top 6. A 7th place for him. 1:17.293. 1:17.282 is the time that both Ekstrom and Vitoris have, 5th and 6th on the grid. So you are talking 11 thousandths of a second.
Look at this. Best Sector 1 of anyone, PB in Sector 2. And Robert Wickens, look at that, 1:17 dead.
Where did he come from? 19th is where he came from, 19th to 1st.
Just spotted it on the timing screen that he'd done a PB in, better than anyone in Sector 1. And here comes Lucas Auer with a PB Sector 1, better than anyone in Sector 2. Now, if he's hooked it all up together in Sector 3, this is Lucas Auer. He's going to go from P13 to P1.
Ooh.
First sub 1:17 time goes to Lucas Auer, 1:16.861. Comes Mike Rockenfeller. All green so far through the sectors for Mike Rockenfeller as he heads towards the timing line. Now from P15, Mike Rockenfeller will go 10 places better to P5. It's all happening with less than 30 seconds on the clock remaining, Chris.
That's right, whereas yesterday nobody was really improving at the end of the sessions. Today it's the absolute opposite here. And Wickens, who is currently 4th now, so Vitoris has gone 2nd, Glock has gone 3rd. So Wickens was first about 30 seconds ago. He's 4th now, but he's done a personal best, the best of anybody in Sector 1. Sector 2 didn't go purple, but he might just get himself back on the front row of the grid with a good final sector. Yesterday's pole sitter, only 14th at the moment, Miguel Molina, PB in Sector 1. Pretty standard in Sector 2, so he needs a special final sector.
Drop in tires, I come in.
Copy, box, at the moment P3, very good lap.
Well, the checker flag is out, the session is over, but anyone that's on a lap can, of course, continue. Here goes Molina. There's the checker flag being waved, as you can see. So, our Vitoris. Here comes Nico Muller then. PB, Sector 1. What can he do in Sector 2? Maybe not enough. Look at this. Celebration down there in the Lucas Auer garage.
Jamie Green's currently 7th. He's had a personal best, a very good middle sector actually here. He's not going to be going for pole position, but he should improve here at the end. Oh no, lets him down.
Slow in lap. Slow, very, very slow in lap, please.
Lets him down on the final sector, doesn't it? So 1:17.044. Couldn't quite do it at the end of the lap, so he stays in 7th. The Audis, though, after their performance in qualifying yesterday, are the heaviest cars here. But it will all change again after this one, Dave. They'll take weight off some of the cars and put it onto the others based on the fastest theoretical time of the fastest driver in each brand, and everybody in that similar car gets the same weight added. So if you're in a Mercedes and a Mercedes driver gets pole, you get the same weight added or taken away.
Peter Mucker there, absolutely relishing the celebrations there. Nico Muller improved by 1 place, but look at the team. They're absolutely thrilled to bits.
I think they'd won the championship.
Yeah, you would, wouldn't you? But in fairness, for the team, look at it, our Vitoris.
Yeah.
It's fantastic, isn't it? Let's just bear in mind and keep borne in mind that Christian Vitoris is going to be reported to the stewards of the meeting for potentially blocking during that qualifying, but let's take nothing away from this man, Lucas Auer. And to be fair, Chris, over the free practice sessions we saw in qualifying yesterday, there has been moments of supreme quickness from Lucas Auer, and he's just put it all absolutely together in this qualifying session.
First and second in the 2 qualifying sessions yesterday, wasn't he? Did well enough, 3rd row of the grid yesterday, 5th in qualifying. And
P7 in the race,
P7 in the race, 5th for most of the race as well. So he's been consistently quick, Lucas Auer, and he gets pole position 1 minute 16.861. It was only 0.2 of a second away from the pole position time yesterday in the end. So they all found something in that last stint. 1:16.9, a tenth slower for Vitoris in 2nd place. Timo Glock 3rd, only missing out on the front row of the grid by 11,000ths of a second. 4th place for Robert Wickens. So it is Mercedes, BMW, Mercedes, the first 4 on the grid.
May I mention that stealth-like into P6, Gary Paffett.
Yes, hardly seen him this weekend, have we?
Absolutely.
Hardly seen him, apart from when he was getting tangled up a little bit with Adrian Tombe going off the road early on yesterday. He's just been sort of stuck there in the midfield, but yeah, well done, Gary, into 6th place.
So Lucas Auer topped the chart then with Christian Vitoris alongside. Then it's Timo Glock and Robert Wickens, Mike Rockefeller, Gary Paffett. Then for Audi, Jamie Green, Marco Wittmann, then P8, and then it was Matthias Ekström, Tom Blomqvist, Maximilian Gertz and Maxime Martin before Spengler. Moliner, P14, yesterday's race winner. Then it was Muller, Ocon, Felix da Costa, Junkadea, Farfus, Tombe, De Resta, Mortara, Scheider, and Martin Tomczyk. That was an exciting quali session.
That was really good. Yeah, really good. So, the trend continues. 6 qualifying sessions, 6 different drivers on pole this season, and Lucas Auer gets his 2nd ever pole position in DTM.
There is Timo Glock. Take it, take it. Drivers going for their weighing.
Timo's getting some good consistency now.
Yes.
The win at Spielberg. He was unlucky really at Hockenheim because he had good pace there. He got in the points as well with a good 4th place finish in the first race at Spielberg. And yeah, yesterday just missed out on the top 10. But here he is looking like he's going to perhaps challenge for a podium once again. So Timo in 6th place in the championship standings. Be pleased with that. And top BMW man in the session. Where's Marco Wittmann in the end? 8th place for Marco. It was the one we probably thought would be up there.
Here comes the starting grid for race number 6. Then it's an all-pink, all-Mercedes front row. It's Lucas Auer, pole position. Alongside him is Christian Vitoris.
On the 2nd row of the grid, we'll have Timo Glock for BMW and Robert Wickens for Mercedes.
So looking strong for Mercedes, but Mike Rockefeller's Audi is P5. Gary Paffett's Mercedes goes from P6 for race 2.
On the 4th row of the grid, yesterday's 2nd place man Jamie Green and Marco Wittmann, who was 4th in race 1.
Matthias Ekström then P9 and Tom Blomqvist on the 5th row of the grid alongside him.
Starting 11th and 12th, we'll have Maximilian Götz and Maxime Martin.
To To the 7th row, we find Bruno Spengler, and then yesterday's winner, Miguel Molina.
Yeah, today a very different day indeed. Nico Muller, 15th. Esteban Ocon, the rookie, in 16th place.
Then we find Antonio Felix da Costa and Daniel Juncadella, P17, P18.
Next up to the 10th row of the grid, Augusto Farfus and Adrian Tombe.
Then we find Paul Di Resta and Eduardo Mortara, P21 and P22.
Yeah, two quick drivers struggling there. Timo Scheider and Martin Tomczyk, two former champions, on the final row of the grid.
Well, as you say, Chris, the trend continues, doesn't it, of read nothing into Saturday before predicting what's going to happen on Sunday.
That's
very
right.
interesting.
We
Very interesting.
Could well get our 6 different winner as well, because you've got Auer and Vitoris on the front row of the grid. You've got Wickens, who hasn't won yet this season, 4th on the grid. Rocky, Paffett, 5th and 6th on the grid. There's only Timo Glock that's a previous winner that's in the top 6 on the grid. There he is, 3rd place for the Deutsche Post BMW M4 of Timo Glock.
So P3 then for the former Formula 1 star Timo Glock. And the first of the all-pink front row, if you like, or second, depending on which way you look at it, is Christian Vitoris, who will be going from P2 in that Mercedes-Benz. Do bear in mind that there is this investigation into potential blocking over him, but Christian Vitoris, P2. And then with his second pole position, and he has looked places really, really quick all weekend, so perhaps it shouldn't be quite such a surprise to us. Lucas Auer, car number 22, going from pole position for the longer race of this afternoon as his pink Mercedes bounces across the timing line. Pole position for Lucas Auer. So Christian Vitoris then is likely to get a penalty for blocking Matthias Ekstrom, which means, of course, that his P2 will be put back. And
they did a similar punishment for Max Gortz in yesterday's qualifying session, so it's something they're quite hard on, they're quite strict on in DTM. So not confirmed yet, but a question mark over whether he will actually be second on the grid. If not, Timo Glock will be promoted onto the front row of the grid. Here's a replay of the onboards with Matthias Ekstrom. It's the end of the start, straight into turn 1, and that is where we're told Eki got blocked by Vitoris. That's the incident they're at least looking into. And of course, that would have ruined Eki's lap. Ekstrom ending up 9th quickest in the end in the Audi. Yeah, there you can see gesticulating. Yes. Not best pleased with that. And there's probably a better view now. It says he came out of the pits then, Vitoris, and yeah. That ruined Eki's lap, didn't it?
Yeah. And looking at that evidence, it's pretty clear to see, isn't it?
But still, a very, very good session for Muka Motorsport, who, from Berlin, they're only an hour or so down the road, so very much in home territory, Peter Muka's team. And Lucas Auer, don't forget, his best ever result, he's only been in the championship for a year and a bit, is 6th place. So could he get his maiden podium? Could he even get straight to the top step with a win? Wouldn't count against him, would you? By the way
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. He's he goes about his business pretty quietly, but well, we will see. So the race to come a little bit later this afternoon. Qualifying done and dusted from Chris and from myself. For now, thanks for watching. We'll see you for the race. Bye-bye.